The Jacob Media Sports Network, in partnership with 97.3 ESPN, brings you the Mays and Eytan Show.
Middays with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander.
Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
We have finally hit rock bottom with the Philadelphia Phillies baseball team, where we can finally, in my opinion at the very least, and I know it's a very small sliver of an opinion shared by very few, both heard throughout the radio, online, or the internet, that we can justifiably dive into the ins and outs of what's wrong with this baseball team, as opposed to doing it day in and day out, laboring over that process. Because, Harry Mays, we begin with news. It's not breaking. It happened, I think, like 30 minutes ago. But we begin with news. Gabe Kapler is out. It looks like Matt Klentak is in. It looks like Andy McPhail is in. It looks like John Middleton isn't selling any shares anytime soon. Nothing else is happening at the moment. Right. Nothing except the firing. Now, for whatever reason, Harry, this also took what seemed to be 4 weeks in the process of a firing, interviewing, all these other things. But now we have closure, and it took way too long, but we have closure.
And I tell you, the only guy that's more happy about this than a good portion of the Phillies fan base is Clayton Kershaw.
Yes.
Because if it weren't for Kapler being fired, we probably would have started the show with the debacle that was the eighth inning with the future Hall of Famer Clayton Kershaw coming in relief.
Listen,
trying to get some outs.
When you've got a $50 parlay riding on the second half of that game,
I saw you wanted to cash out.
I
saw there was a text.
Yeah.
I went to bed because
it
was 3-0. I was so pissed off with
Strasburg
giving up these home runs. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go to bed. I don't need this agita. So I went to bed. I wake up and my wife says, "Who won the game?" I go, "I don't know." And I checked my phone and it was 7-3. I'm like, "Oh my God!" Then I looked at the details and I see your text, "Cash out?" ? And I'm like, "No, I hope he didn't." Just ride it out, my man.
I didn't. I honestly. I was waiting for your response. I wanted something in return, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to ride this thing out. And I have to be honest, there were times in which I wanted to turn. But as soon as you saw Clayton Kershaw come in, social media just up there. But hold on. I mean, you're right. I mean, we're only diving into this because you nailed the parlay. I don't even know if you bet it.
I did. Okay, I bet it on the show yesterday, right before we brought Bob from Crossing Broad.
And that's our rule here. We don't talk about games unless we bet.
I just put it right in. That's why I love the Parks app. Bang.
Bang. So first, we actually have breaking news during today, and that's Gabe Kapler's
right
out.
Now, I don't know if this is going to make a big difference.
It's not going to make
really
any difference.
You know
what difference? The whole thing. This man was the definition of following orders from the front office.
Right.
I mean, outside of
the analytics department and the front office, the general manager run the team.
And you tell me right or wrong. I'm just going to make the statement. You tell me right or wrong. In baseball, for better or worse, it's not a morality thing. It's just an application. For better or worse, and we'll explain why if you're hearing a construction site going on in the background. We'll explain that in 5 minutes.
Right, you're getting your upstairs rebuilt, basically.
Correct. Finally, I have a man here who's doing us a great job. I'll tell you all about him, too. But hold on. Baseball, the front office, meaning like the general manager can have a directive that's based off analytics, and that influences the game way more than any other sport, meaning no general – Ron Hextall wasn't applying some analytical strategy, and that was like boggling down Dave Haxtell. And that's not working in the NFL. Like, Howie Roseman isn't coming to Doug Peterson with an analytical approach to the game and saying, hey, you need to do this. Same thing with Elton Brand and Brett Brown.
The only thing they probably do in football is fourth downs, whether to go for it or not. They've got calculations.
But that's stuff that the coach controls.
Right, yeah. And, replay, whether they should review plays and all that kind of nonsense. But, yeah, you're right. Nowhere more in baseball. Baseball analytics is now running baseball.
It's crazy.
It really is.
So, right or wrong, whether or not this is an old-timer versus new-timer, this seems to be guy on the field is either a scapegoat for the fact that the team underachieved, and I know injuries, and when I say underachieved, I don't mean the players, I mean the team, meaning the front office totally let everybody down. Or is it Gabe Kapler really wasn't listening like we want somebody to listen? I mean, how much of that do you
Listening
think?
to who? To Klentak
Yeah.
and everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like on the surface, and again, we'll talk to Scott Lauber at 12:30. It seemed like, who's deeper, it seemed like on the surface, Klentak was giving orders, and Gabe was pretty much following them.
Well, I mean, we were told that the lead owner, Middleton,
We were told.
was flying around the country over the weekend, interviewing some of his key players on the roster and valuing their opinion as to whether regarding the manager.
Do you believe this?
Well,
Like-
I believe that he did it.
No,
I don't think it was a lie.
I didn't mean it like that as from a validity standpoint. I mean, like, do you believe this? Like, why is he crowdsourcing? And then ultimately it seemed like somebody said on Twitter, and I can't remember who it was.
He wants to give the appearance that he's doing all this due diligence.
Right, but wasn't it the fans who ultimately were the most anti against Gabe, and weren't a lot of players sticking up for Gabe?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what went on.
We'll have to ask Scott. Scott's going to join us in 25 minutes. We need to.
Yeah, I'm
we
sure
need
the guys that made things public, their feelings known public, were supportive. I would imagine. It's nobody ripped him publicly, but maybe behind closed doors, hey, it's just the owner and you. Maybe you say, hey, you know what? I really don't know that he's the right guy for us going forward.
Okay,
because of X, Y, and Z.
we're going to hear from Bryce Harper on Gabe Kapler in a second. All right, at Harry Mays to you, at Shander Show, 609-403-0973. Best ways to get in the show right now. Here's what I'd say. What took so outside of waiting for somebody to leave, and listen, this happens in the NFL, I get it, a coordinator goes deep into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. If it's not somebody who's currently or just got bounced from the playoffs, and it's somebody who's been sitting there for a year in the broadcast booth, Harry, or somebody who's been fired for a year, whatever it is, doesn't the question remain, like, why the hell take so long? What changed in a week and a half?
Well, I don't know what changed, but maybe it's the whole series. I mean, nobody's really gotten hired yet. I mean, there's links to guys and organizations.
You think Joe Madden's a reality?
Nobody's been hired. I don't know that Joe. No, I don't think so. I think he's probably going to end up with the Angels. I mean, he'd been with the Angels in his past too. There's a connection there too. But no, I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying, like, they figured, hey, we got time. There's no rush to do this today. We're going to take our time. We're going to, give the appearance to the fan base that we're really digging in here, and we're doing our best due diligence to really find out what's best for the team going forward. When they may have already had their guy. I mean, Showalter isn't going anywhere. If it's Showalter, he's there. Right. He had a connection to the front office, in McPhail, and they probably figured, hey, we got him if we want him. So there's no rush to bounce Gabe the day after the season ends. We'll just sort of take our time.
Yeah, but take your time, I think, exposes you to be weaker.
Well, that's the way people perceive it.
Well, that's how I perceive it.
Okay, well, I don't.
This organization's in chaos.
Well,
what benefit? They haven't had a plus 500 season in 8 years.
No, I know.
What benefit of the doubt are you giving them?
No, I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. But until this organization starts to find and develop pitching, nothing is going to change because they're not going to be able to go out and buy it all. Okay, that's the real root of the problem, is the scouting and the development of young players within this organization. That is the problem.
Right. And
look at what Washington has on that roster. They developed most of those guys.
I'm not arguing anything outside of the timeline of Gabe Kapler. The root of the issue we agree on. The fact that Matt Klentak is a major problem. The fact that the front office completely failed this team at the trade deadline. Injuries, other factors involved here. Even Gabe Kapler.
Everybody has injuries.
Well, I get it. No. But listen, we can't always point to the Yankees either. I mean, what the Yankees did this year was just magnificent and more of an anomaly than not.
But to look at some of the trades that Cashman made over the last couple of years that are really, blooming for this team right now, and the development of players in their minor league system, that is the difference.
Harry, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but Brian Cashman is better at his job than Matt Klentak is.
Of course he
So
is.
you might have to lower your expectations.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm not saying, I'd love to have a guy that's as good as Brian Cashman. I mean, seriously. Hell, I'll take Rizzo in D.C. right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now. Yes, I understand that if Rizzo, well...
How about this Cardinals team?
Unbelievable.
You can't name half the guys on the roster.
No, but that's
okay?
hasn't that been their MO, I think, more often than not? Not everybody on their team that you can't name, but they have guys that just automatically appear late in the regular season, postseason, and that's how they get their names, right?
Yeah.
Like what happened to David Freese?
All right. Yeah, where is he now?
Yeah.
Right.
Where are they now?
Right.
That's what
we got Colton Wong, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, where's the Phillies Colton Wong?
I don't understand.
You know, they'll go out and make a move for a Goldschmidt every once in a while, you know, and bring in a guy from another team, but develop your own guys.
No, they better off. Right. Exactly right. That's what they're better off doing.
How about 10 runs in the first inning? Yes, I didn't even turn it on.
I turned it
because
off.
I'm watching Saturdays in the South. I was watching the third episode of that on DVR or on demand, and it wasn't going to be over until about 20 minutes into the baseball game. I look on my phone and I'm like, Jesus, 9-0 already.
You texted me. I didn't even get to the game. Here's the thing. I didn't even turn the game on until like the fourth inning.
Yeah.
I was so slow to it because I missed the opener, and you texted me.
Yeah, I said it's 10-0.
At that point, my first initial reaction when you sent me that text of 10-0, because I completely forgot. I was just in the middle of doing something with the
It was
dog.
like a 5:05 start, I think.
I thought it was like a 3 o'clock start.
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking to
Right.
myself,
Seventh inning.
they just won 10-0?
Right.
That's what I thought. And I completely forgot it was unbelievable.
I didn't have to watch a second of that game.
No, that was a beauty, man. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Anybody who took your advice on that, definitely.
How about Flaherty? He's pretty darn good too, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was a good call overall, especially because now here's the thing: my 1 cent bet did not hit.
1 cent. Oh, your parlay with all your hockey games?
No. That was like I think a dollar bet.
Okay.
This was an actual 1 cent bet. Where 5 cents. I put 5 cents at plus 10,000, where the Braves were down. What was it, in the 7th or 8th?
It was 13-1 at that point.
Right. When 13-1.
That was the final too.
Correct.
Yeah.
But whenever the Braves scored, when did the Braves score? The 6th or 7th?
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
All right. That's when I put the bet in.
Okay.
At plus 10,000.
Yeah, they're going to make this comeback.
Yep.
Okay.
And I thought, you know what? If I win, I get $5. And you know what that $5? No, I think it was even more than that.
You're going to reinvest that tonight in the Rays plus money?
Nah, I'd probably buy the dog a treat at like PetSmart or something.
I'll tell you what. Major League Baseball needs the Astros and Garrett Cole to win tonight.
Well,
nobody wants to see the Tampa Bay Rays and the Yankees. I want to see, and everybody else wants to see the Astros and the Yankees.
Be that as
Please.
it may, you know the Yankees will still draw.
They will, but I mean, baseball. The Astros are a team now that I think anybody that's remotely interested in baseball, you're watching the Astros in the playoffs.
No, I get it from an entertaining standpoint.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I would much
it's the
rather
fourth inning. Atlanta scored in the fourth inning.
Okay, man, that's where I put the bet in then. That's
Okay.
what I said. I started watching early.
Okay.
So I put that bet in there. They never scored again. So last night, beyond that, I think you're right when you look at just how things laid out. Now with Gabe Kapler moving forward, there's definitely going to be the question mark of who comes in now that this thing is official. And the whole thing, like, it was just buzzard talk for so long, and that's what was driving. And I'm not saying like on the radio. Mm-hmm. Trust me, I'm not going there. I'm just saying like social. It just got over and over again. I saw people tweeting about the same stuff. It was buzzard talk, just hovering around a dying carcass, hovering and hovering and hovering until the thing's dead,
right.
And then just shooting in and picking at it. Like, I'd rather wait until the damn thing dies.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we didn't get involved in much of this.
No.
during
I'm not trying to separate us from anybody else. What I'm saying is that now that this thing is wide open, and to your point, there hasn't been much movement at all, I think people are going to have to come to grips with one of two things. Mm-hmm. Either they're going to go with a guy who has complete, total autonomy, can do whatever the hell he wants, and apply analytics as much or as little as he wants, and he's going to live or die with decisions made on the field, which might impact 6 games, or they're going to bring in even more of a Stepford wife.
Stepford meaning just in lockstep with the organization kind of thing.
Yep. Now, who was in Stepford Wives?
I don't know. I mean, that's from the 70s, isn't it?
They remade it.
They did? Of course they did. I'm just sort of wondering, like, if the Mets don't fire Mickey Callaway.
That's Nicole Kidman and
well,
Matthew.
that's the remake.
Listen,
but who's the original?
Matthew Broderick, underrated in that movie.
I can't stand him. I can't take that guy.
Oh, my God, I love it.
I wonder if the
original.
Mets don't fire Mickey Callaway, do the Phillies fire Gabe Kapler?
Why, you think that they're interested in Mickey Callaway?
No, I'm just saying because Mickey Callaway actually, improved during the year. I mean, the Mets, the Mets kind of have a roster too of some young players that are pretty good, and they got a pitching staff. I mean, that team to me is set for a big move forward if they do the right, make the right decision. But they fired Callaway, and it's like, man, if the Mets fire Callaway, they finished ahead of us. How can we not fire Gabe Kapler?
Do you think that the firing itself, though, is because there was chaos up until they were 20 games above 500 in that stretch? Or do you think it's like the NBA where a coach can only get you so far to like the 8th seed?
Well, plus they have a new general manager that came in this past year, and Callaway wasn't his hire.
That's true.
In Brody Van Wagenen.
Right.
So,
and now they're going to go after Carlos Beltran.
Yeah, Beltran and Girardi, I heard, is interviewing for the Mets, too.
Right. So I think to answer your question, the fact that the Mets, here's the thing, I look at it like free agency from a player standpoint of free agency. It's destination. Same thing with the hire. Mm-hmm. The Mets are way more of an appealing job right now than the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, yeah, because they got 3 pitchers in their rotation that are pretty darn good.
So that's why I think
one's a perennial Cy Young candidate every year.
So if all things are equal, to your point about the staff, the lineup, the youth, you're going to go with the Mets every single time, which I think even if Mickey Callaway stayed, it would actually make the job more appealing for the Phillies because you wouldn't have, that hot guy, that hot woman, whatever gender you are, next to you and just being like, weighing you down. You're walking out into the club, you think you look good. Next thing you know, your buddy's just, or you see this all the time, right?
Yeah,
Conversations. Yeah. That's all I'm saying, is it wouldn't be along those lines.
I have no idea what you just said.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. But we also have to get to...
But do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
I answered your question, which is it doesn't matter. It would actually have improved the Phillies' chances of landing a better candidate.
Because it's one less guy that can take
a better job.
Yeah, but okay. So, you'd have a chance at Girardi, in other words.
You'd have a chance at pretty much
whoever.
Anybody.
Yeah,
that wouldn't have that. All right, let's get this Bryce Harper's thoughts.
Oh, yeah, we got audio?
On Gabe Kapler.
We got Lauber coming up at 12:30.
We do, 14 minutes. All right, this is a month ago.
I mean, I think that's a conversation that, if it needs to be had, then it'll be had. But at this point, he's our manager. And, I think all the guys in this clubhouse back him with what they, with what he does every single day as a manager. And, the staff that we do have with Thompson, Paco, and Dusty and everybody all the way down. So if that conversation is to be had, that's way over my head. There's guys up above me that make those decisions. So if we do need to have that conversation, then, I'll be all ears.
Well, now that's not exactly a ringing endorsement a month ago. He's our manager right now. I mean, Jesus. You think about that.
That's a month ago, and I think
right.
that's the ultimate takeaway for me.
Which basically, don't ask me. I don't make those decisions, but right now he's our manager.
But think about what the conversation was a month ago.
Yeah.
The same conversation it was up until today.
Right.
Is Gabe Kapler going to get fired? Should Gabe Kapler get fired? When will Gabe Kapler get fired? Gabe Kapler is a coconut oil salesman, out here selling, what is it, not placebo, the tonic oil, whatever the hell it is.
Snake oil.
Snake oil, thank you. Or it's just a matter of time before, if you're inside the organization, maybe you felt the heat, or maybe, somebody led on with Kapler.
Well, that's the whole thing.
That got out.
I mean, if you brought back the entire front office and the manager this year, who's been here for 2 years, and you've really seen little to any improvement, okay? You finished 81 and 81, okay?
Right.
And that was an improvement off of last year. Well, that's not good enough. How are you going to sell it to your fan base that you didn't make some big change? In other words, he's not going to fire McPhail and Clintack and everybody. They weren't going to clean house, but they got to get rid of somebody. And the pitching coach ain't enough.
Right.
Okay? He's a fall guy to at least say, hey, we're making changes.
Effect. You just said the pitching guy's not enough. The pitching guy to the manager to now what?
The hitting coach was earlier in the season.
Right. Hitting coach, that's the first.
Right.
That was the first domino to fall.
Right.
Hitting coach, pitching coach, manager. It's the belief that there is no penalty right now from ownership on a front office who essentially left a wounded guy out there on the battlefield. Mm-hmm. I mean, I hate to make light of that analogy, but my goodness, this team was competing. This team, whether or not you think, and they are surely not the Washington Nationals, so don't think that they were going to beat anybody. But they were in contention at the very least, even with that lack of movement and Jason Vargas and these other guys that they half-assed did.
Yeah, they spackled together.
Seriously.
Some sort of half-assed rotation.
Oh, that's a great term.
Yeah, isn't
They
it
really
really?
did. They
it's
really did.
spackling.
They really did,
You know,
man.
and they didn't even sand it off. It's
Nope.
still got the rough, patches of it, of the spackle. You'll see it when you go upstairs in a couple of days when these guys are doing they'll put in the drywall.
My guy Nick here is a professional.
They'll put in the sheetrock.
Now,
They
listen.
get the sheetrock, and then
I got Nick Love Construction up here doing
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Nick Love,
Yeah, don't listen. All right, he's doing his this is
not
an
Eddie
amazing job.
Love,
No, not Eddie Love. Who else? Kevin Love.
Bob Love,
Bob
an old
Love.
NBA name.
Wow.
How about that?
Josh always going back to like some decade in which
Jeez.
nobody would assume he'd have knowledge of these
What did
players.
Bob Love? Did he play for the Bullets?
The Warriors?
The Bulls.
No, the Bulls.
Oh man, did he play with Jackson? Or is he before that?
He was before.
Oh yeah, of
course
this
he
is the
was.
old school Bulls.
Of course he was.
Bob Love.
609-403-0973.
That was back in the cocaine days of the NBA.
Bob Love and Artis Gilmore in the
Artis
front court for
Gilmore.
the Bulls.
Absolutely.
Phillies fired Gabe already. It's on the text board. 609-403-0973. We'll hit the text coming up. Dan from Tuckerton. You often discuss the importance or lack thereof, the role the manager plays in sports. Dodgers manager is going to be fired. Well, let's not jump to anything.
Hey, I tell you
he
what.
just signed a major extension last year.
No, I know, but it's been 6 or 7 straight years
Yeah.
that team has gotten to the postseason and has come up short. They got the 2 World Series, lost them, and that roster there's no way that team shouldn't have made the World Series this year.
Dodgers manager is going to be fired, as he said. Kershaw's known for his postseason struggles, had no reason not to be out there in the 8th inning when he gave up 2 homers to tie the game. Jensen
He
should have
threw
been in
6
there
pitches.
in the top of the 10th after Kelly gave up a walk. There are 2 examples here of how managers play an important role in baseball, and the Dodgers manager will play the scapegoat for a 106-win team getting bounced out of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Listen.
that's different than the Twins winning 100-plus games and getting bounced in the first round of the
Was that
playoffs.
by the Yankees?
Yeah, by the Yankees. The Yankees own them.
Right.
I mean, I don't think the Yankees have lost to the Twins in the playoffs in 3 or 4 decades.
Right.
But
now listen, Dan from Tuckerton, I'm not disagreeing with you that the manager last night had an impact on the outcome. But my whole sense of frustration, and I know I'm not alone because I share it with a lot of people, is that it's ad astra light years away from the Philadelphia Phillies being in a position to even have the luxury, Harry, of talking about whether or not their manager would make such a mistake in the NLDS. I mean, my God, can they at least finish over 500?
Well, we've got audio of the St. Louis Cardinals manager in the room after the game in Atlanta. It was recorded by one of their pitchers.
Antonio Brown?
No, Antonio Brown. It was an Antonio Brown move.
Seriously?
I saw this morning. I couldn't get enough of it.
Wait, who's the pitcher who did this? Do we know?
I think he's like their 5th starter. He's like a young pitcher. I'll find his name.
Shouldn't this be something along the lines, though, of this guy should be raked?
He apologized for it already.
Damn right.
He
should.
realized he made a mistake, but it's great audio. I mean, this guy, what's his name, Schulte or something, the manager of the Cardinals? I never saw him before.
Schlitt.
Schilt.
Not Matt
I think
Schilt,
it's Schilt.
a.k.a. Matt
It's not
Fingers.
Schlitz.
No.
But anyway, you see
Not an
this
alcoholic
guy.
drink.
You see this guy sitting in the dugout, right? You don't think he has a pulse.
No.
Dude, this guy is lit.
Yeah.
In the locker room.
Absolutely.
He's throwing F-bombs and this is awesome.
You knew you didn't know who he was before
I know,
this, right?
I didn't. Now I
Me
love
neither.
him.
Yep, absolutely. He is everybody's crowd hero now. This is Matt Schlitz.
Schilt.
Matt Schilt
It's
is
Schildt.
okay.
Schilt.
Well, I have a guy, Matt Schilt.
No, it's Mike Schilt.
Oh, okay. Well,
Who's
okay.
Matt Schilt?
Matt Schilt is a guy. Listen, Matt Schilt is a guy. He's a major producer and music coordinator. He goes by the name Matt Fingers. And I'll just give you a quick little
Fingers?
like F-I-N-G.
F-I-N-G-A-Z?
Yeah,
Fingers.
I'll give you a quick little synopsis of who Matt Schilt is.
Okay.
Remember when Pharaoh Monch came on?
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So Matt put on the first ever true hip-hop show at Lincoln Center up in New York City,
Okay.
which is like
Yeah, it's
something
a-
that's
it's
never
a
been done.
hoity-toity place.
Absolutely. The Roots did the entire show. This is back in 2001. The The Roots, Jay-Z was there, Cool G Rap was there, Large Professor was there,
Professor?
Pharoah Monch was there. I'm telling you, man, there was some.
Not Glenn Macnow, the prof.
No.
Okay.
I don't know if Glenn got the invite.
Okay.
If he did, he might have had more important things to do. I don't hold Glenn responsible for not doing that. So I'm going to get these two guys responsible.
Okay, we'll have the audio.
Well,
when
how
we come
long
back.
is it?
It's probably 20 seconds.
All right, now
It's
we're
not
going to have
long.
to bounce this Julian Edelman thing probably till Friday.
Oh, yeah?
Well, yeah, because we've got Gabe Kapler, right? I mean, we should probably be hitting this for 2 hours, no?
You think so? What is this, the old place?